Welcome to the 5th video in this series where I'm teaching you how to draw a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel in coloured pencils from start to finish. In part 4 we started working on Bella's nose and this tanned area of fur around her mouth. So in this video we're just going to pick up where we left off and just finish this sort of area of her mouth and chin, and then start working on her right ear as well. There's a link in the description to the reference photos and the list of colour pencils that I'll be using for each part, and I'll also link part 1 of this video in the description as well, just in case you haven't seen any yet and you want to start from the beginning. If you do follow along with this tutorial, please tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see your work. I'm going to get started pretty much where we left off. I want to start this tiny little section just on the left hand side of her face where it's a little bit darker. And I just want to draw that in first of all. I'm going to use the Naples Ochre from Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils and just sort of shade that area in just as a base. And just want to cover all of the white of the paper. Just be careful, try not to overlap this with any of the pencils you've already put down. I'm going to go straight in now with Burnt Ochre from the Polychromos. Because, like I say, it's quite a bit darker and it's quite orange as well. It's similar to this little section that we did in, I think, part 2. So I'm just going in the same direction as the fur, so I'm going sort of up diagonally, and I'm starting in the darkest shadows and sort of flicking my pencil up. I'm just doing short little pencil strokes like that. And again, I'm shading in pretty much this whole area. So like I said in one of the other videos, the sort of base colours will make all of the difference for later. So obviously this area we want to be a little bit darker than the rest of the face. So we can add darker pencils on top for the details and sort of press a bit harder. But the base layers is what is going to sort of differentiate this area the most. For the rest of the face we used a lot lighter colours just underneath, whereas this orange is really going to brighten it up and sort of really just keep it that sort of orangey colour rather than the like peachy colour which is on the rest of the face. I'm going to use the Vista pencil now from Polychromos, and this is where I'm going to start to press a little bit harder, and I just want to get that shape in now. So just around that sort of outline, I'm just pressing a bit harder with my pencil, and then I'm flicking it down now. So I'm doing the opposite as the orange. So as you can see on the photo, she's got like darker hairs at the top where it's meeting her face, and then the brighter hairs are sort of flicking up from the bottom. So that's why I've done those sort of the opposite way. I'm just copying the reference photo pretty much. I'm now going to add a little bit of burnt sienna. So you can see it's quite like a reddy brown colour in these darker hairs, and this pencil is just perfect for that. I'm doing quite similar to what we just did with the Bista. Just go over where you can see those dark hairs are in the reference photo. Comes up a little bit as well into this section. I think I'm going to use this brown ochre 10% from Luminance, and on the face that we did last time I'm just going to add a bit more onto the edges. I feel like it just needed a bit more colour in. Okay. Now I'm just going to use Burnt Umber from Polychromos and do those final details. This again is just going over where the burnt sienna was pretty much. You can see where all of those darker hairs are. And just look at the sort of direction they go in and where they go in. I'm going to put some burnt umber in this shadow just to sort of blend that together. Just brought a bit of this burnt umber again just into the face. I think this little section just needs a bit of brightening up as well now that we've finished this bit. I'm going to use the burnt ochre and just do kind of like a glaze over the top. Just slightly. I did say when I finished the last part of the video that this part of her face wasn't really finished yet, but I sort of just needed to come back to it another day. I'm going to add a bit just to this right side of her face as well. Just anyway you can see needs to be a bit more orange really. Just adds that bit of brightness into it, especially in this reference photo. Like I said, the sun is quite strong on her face, so it's quite a lot of contrast and like bright colours. I'm going to use my dark sepia for this little section of here where it's quite light. I'm just going to add a couple of hairs into it. Maybe I'll same just on the right hand side as well. A couple more black hairs there. Okay, I'm happy to go with that so far. Start working on just like her chin now. So I think if we finish off this little area, so I never finished bringing this bottom bit of her mouth all the way down. I'm just going to erase the outline and the grid lines. I'm going to do a base layer of ivory. I'll bring that up a little bit, but I'm just going to leave that part for now. Then I'm going to do that brown ochre 10% just on top. Okay, I'm pretty much just shading in, getting up those base layers in. You can kind of start blending it out into the other areas that we've finished. Use a little bit of, I can't remember what this pencil's called, burnt ochre. Again, it's that orangey colour. You can see just on the right hand side of this little section is a bit more orangey. And then press a bit lighter just as it goes over to the left. Now again, I'm going to use the Bista. It's pretty much like the same sort of colours. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this tutorial to sort of least amount of colours as I can. Trying to keep everything pretty similar. Just so one, it's easier to follow along, and also if you've only just sort of starting with your colour pencils, you won't have that many. Unless you're rich and you've bought loads. That's not usually the case, I don't think. Unfortunately. I think we'd all like to be rich and buy just loads of pencils and loads of stationery. I'm going to bring a couple of hairs out with this Bista. And start blending all of it together. I think I'm just going to go over again with this brown ochre 10% and kind of blend that in. So it's just feeling a bit harsh. That looks better already, I think. Might need to add some of the burnt umber, but I'll leave it as that for now. And then we've also got this teeny little other sort of arch just underneath, which is where her lips are. So I'm going to do pretty much exactly the same thing. I'm going to use ivory as a base. I'm not really going to be putting much detail into this one because it's kind of hidden behind and in a bit of a shadow. Brown ochre 10% now. I'm just blending these together by sort of pushing the pencil in. I'm going to just go straight in with Bista. I want to create that sort of shadow underneath the part of the mouth that we just did. So I'm just kind of lightly pressing, and then I'm sort of lifting my pencil up as it goes into this arch underneath. Can add it just to the bottom as well, just very lightly. Now you can see on the reference photo, so this part of her chin is white fur, but then she's got bits of kind of like black fur coming out from just underneath her lip where they sort of meet. So I'm gonna start, so it's kind of like a browny black, so I'm gonna use the burnt umber to start. No, actually I lied. I'm gonna start adding a little bit of the white fur, so I'm gonna use the warm grey one, and just where that white fur meets the black fur, I'm just gonna lightly sort of shade that in so that the black fur's got something to go on top of. So warm grey one, and I'm just gonna start shading down. So that's the direction the fur is going in her chin. I'm not worried about covering the whole of the white fur section yet, so I want to do the black fur first. I'm just shading it up so that it covers that sort of meeting point where some of the black fur goes on top of the white. Okay, now I'm going to use my burnt umber. Now again, I want to be careful here because this is like sort of that main shape of her mouth. I want to make sure it's all kind of in the right place. And I'm going to be doing like those little triangles again, which I've spoken about in I think every part of this tutorial so far. If you haven't watched any of the parts of this video, I'm just doing tiny little triangles, kind of flicking with the pointers like upwards here, and that helps to give the illusion when with your pencil that you've got different hairs sort of going on top of others. You can see it doesn't go all the way down on the right hand side. It's because of the angle. So you can leave some little gaps where it shows like the white hairs poking through. Just sort of do them quite irregularly. Now once you've done that, you can start adding those longer hairs. Sorry, Loki is panting again. Can't you look? Yeah. It's being very loud. As usual. He's on his own at the moment. Biscuit's just gone to the groomers, so Loki's being a bit more clingy and wants to sit in with me, whereas usually Biscuit's normally there. And then Loki's out in the kitchen or something. So added a bit more of that burnt umber to where we added it last time. And then I'll do the same on the left side. Okay, now just above this lip, I hadn't quite finished it on top. So I'm going to use the warm grey one, and I'm just going to finish sort of colouring in that section. You can always add some more detail to it later. Now that that burnt umber is in, I'm just going to start working more on this white fur section now. So I've just erased that outline, and I'm just going to carry on with that warm grey one and just bring that all the way down, just to create that shape. Now, I haven't used this pencil, I don't think, yet for this tutorial, but it's buff titanium and it's Caran d'Ache Luminance pencil. It's like a really light ivory. So if you've got the Polychromos ivory pencils, you could use that. Just do a really light layer on top. I really like this pencil for white fur, and I might use some of it on a chest fur as well. The Luminance pencils are a lot smoother and softer than the Polychromos, so I find it's good. It helps to sort of smooth out the paper a bit. And just more than the Polychromos will, like that one layer of warm grey one that we put on, this has kind of smoothed it all out. Use a teeny bit of cold grey too, mostly for the top, and I'm just going to bring it down like that. So just the odd few pencil strokes. Just want to add those in. I'm going to add these darker hairs now. I'm going to use French Grey 30% from the Luminance pencils. You could use probably maybe Warm Grey 4. It's quite similar to this from the Polychromos. Just like a darker grey. You can see in the middle there's that little section of darker hair. So I'm just doing like shortish pencil strokes and just copying the way that they sort of go in, like the direction. Now this white fur is overlapping some more tanned fur, so I'm just going to start with this brown ochre 10%, and I'm adding like those little triangles. I'm going to add a couple of those in just on this right hand side to start with, And that'll just help to show that the white fur is just on top. Can do the same on the left side, although it's not as prominent, it's only overlapping slightly that we can see. Just been erasing the outlines that were left. I'm going to add, it's quite yellowy underneath, so I'm going to put in the Naples ochre just on top of the brown ochre that we just did. So this is like the very bottom of her face now. I'm going to use Bister again just to get this little shape in. There's like a little arch there. I'm doing those tiny little pencil strokes. And then I can bring it up into that white fur then as well, where it's going on top. I feel like this bit is really quite fiddly. I find it hard to like explain and concentrate at the same time. I'm going to add some of the dark sepia now, just to those black hairs that we put burnt umber in before we did the white fur. So you can see where it's a lot darker. I've got quite a sharp pencil for this now, because it's quite like small hairs that we're doing. Just keep looking at the photo. Just see where those longer hairs and shorter hairs are. Now I'm going to add a bit more burnt umber at the moment, just above that section where I said earlier we can add a bit more detail now. Just so you can see there's a few sort of empty spaces. Just adding in like little hairs with this burnt umber. bit more a bit more burnt umber, just to different sections of her face now. Any bits you can see, like I say, need to be a bit darker. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use brown ochre 10%, and if you look at the reference photo, so just on the right of her face there, you can see, so obviously her like face and her mouth area here is in front of her ear, and you can see all little hairs flicking out. So I'm just using this what's called brown ochre 10%, and I'm pressing quite hard. I'm just doing teeny little random pencil strokes flicking out into this section here, which is going to be the black fur. So I want to get that in before I outline for the year, just so that it sort of gives that illusion of it being what's not, well, I don't know what I'm saying, but that's what we're doing. Using dark sepia now, and I just want to get in this shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of in the middle, and I'm going to flick my pencil in. I'm going to do a couple of those little triangle pencil strokes and a few, like I say, just do it quite irregularly. We don't want it to make your face any bigger, but we just want those little random orange hairs to be in front of this black fur. So again, I am just using a sharp pencil. Just starting to shade it out there so I can get a bit of a more of an idea how it's looking. And you can start to see as well where we added those whiskers earlier with the embossing tool. You can see those coming out now. There you go. You can see I've just sort of shaded that out slightly. This whole section here is really dark in shadow, so you don't have to worry too much about getting any like details into it, but I am just pressing lightly at the moment. So I think I'm not going to do the entire year in this video because it'll probably be too long. But I am going to start it and then probably finish it in the next video. So similar to part 3, I think, where we drew her left ear, I want to do the same sort of thing. So I'm going to use the dark sepia, which we've just used. And I want to map in all of the shadows on this side of her face. So you can see just below her eye, we've got this big one. This part always takes the longest, I find anyway, of drawing like curly fur. So I'm just pressing quite hard where it meets her face there because I don't want it all to sort of blend into one. We still want to be able to differentiate between the shadow and where her face is. There you go. And then I'm just going to lightly colour in the rest of it for now. Same goes for, like I said, about this little section, which is really dark. Just outline that. It's hard to see here where her ear is and where is her body. So just going on to my reference photo, I've just upped the exposure a sec so I can see all of the shadows a bit better. So I think this is her ear still by here, I think. So I'm just using my grid there. I think that's like the edge of her ear, possibly. It's also dark anyway, but still want to know what I'm drawing. There's a lot of shadows, so similar to on her left ear, we've got some bits of tan fur in there as well. So I want to avoid those pretty much completely for now. Got bits of black fur going through the middle, which is what I'm drawing in now. just going to go around it. When I'm drawing curly fur, I find the easiest way to do it and to not sort of get overwhelmed with all of the curls is to just get these shadows in straight away, and then I just work up from there. Like I say, this part takes the longest, but then I find it's so worth it then when you haven't really got to think about anything else for the rest of the drawing. It's just like colouring in then once you've got these shadows in, because all of your shapes of your curls and everything are already in. Just keep looking back at your reference photo. Now, doing the same as like what I would have mentioned in part 3, you want to sort of replicate the fur texture with your pencil strokes. So it's really light, sort of flowy and flicky like pencil strokes, and that'll sort of help to make it look like this really, you know, wavy and flowy fur. I hope that makes sense. Like, you don't really want to, like here on the face we were doing those tiny little triangles, whereas like that was for the short fur, whereas now we want these long hair strokes. Can flick out at the top here because you can see the hairs are sort of going out of her face like that, and they're like little baby hairs really. You can see there's a little gap where there's like highlighted fur sort of in between where her ear meets her head, so I've just left that a bit for now, and that's what that little gap is for. You can see there's some light hairs on this sort of section here as well. It's a big shadowed area, so it's similar to down there, just on this right hand side in the corner. Literally all I'm doing is drawing in those very darkest bits in a year. And you can see it all looks a bit random at the moment. I'm sort of got random little wavy bits and bumpy bits, but it all comes together once we add all of the highlights and everything, and sort of the final details, making it a bit darker and everything. So I'm not going to do too much more in this part. Not only will it be a long video, but I'll also have to pick Biscuit up from the groomers soon. So, you know, I dropped that pencil a few videos ago, and I said, oh, it's fine because at least it's in the black fur, and it's not. It's in a light bit. Well, I love to make it a dark bit. It's fine. So I'm just going to use ivory. I'll go over my little black spot, unfortunately. Just where you can see that sort of tanned fur. Just want to do a light sort of base of this ivory colour. And then I'm going to add, like we did on the left side, if I can find the pencil, I want to use raw umber 10%. There it is. Just very lightly over some areas where you can see it's not like super bright. Like you can see the tan sections are nowhere near as orange as the rest of the face that we've done. So I find this raw umber 10% just helps to sort of tone it down a bit. I'm going to use beige red then next. I can see hints of pink. I'll leave those as that for now. Next step then, I'm going to use the cold grey 2. This is pretty much the same as what we've done for all of the other highlights. And I'm just basically, so I still want to follow the fur direction, but essentially I'm going to be just colouring in all of the highlights. Everywhere that's been left white on this year is now going to be coloured in this cold grey 2. You can go over some of the dark bits that we've done with the dark sepia as well, that's fine. Sorry if my hand is in the way at all. I'm going to use the warm grey one now just to go on top of those highlighted bits. Some areas, similar to on the left hand side, we've got some parts that are really quite warm, and then other bits of the highlight, like right up this top bit here, quite blue. I think it all just depends on like the sunlight and everything and how it's hitting it. Just use a bit of this warm grey one just on the left hand side of this tan bit of fur, because not only do I want to cover the little black spot that I drew earlier, but you can see a bit more shadow that I just didn't add in earlier. Oh my god, I dropped it again. Luckily didn't land on the paper this time. Oh, it's just like a bad omen, isn't it? There we are. Just gone around that with dark sepia. It's kind of hidden my spot now, which is good. Just gonna do maybe like 10 more minutes, because she just messaged me that biscuit will be ready at 2:30, so you see a bit of time. It's 10 to 2 now, so if I stop at 2 I've got plenty of time to sort of make sure the video's saved and everything. I can do a bit more on this year then. Sorry, there's people being loud outside. I am sorry if you can hear them. Just added a bit more dark sepia to those sections there. Pretty much just because I got carried away. I had it in my hand when I was talking about picking biscuit up from the groomers, so I just went with it. It's like autopilot. I just start drawing if there's a pencil in my hand. Just go over, may as well now, some of those darker sections, just a little bit. You can see those whiskers really coming through now. It looks really good. For the next step, I'm going to use Cold Grey 4. I've used this in all other parts of this video so far. And I'm going over all of the shadows, and I'm also going to start bringing it out into the highlights as well. So I've got a really sharp pencil for this. Ideally, I would be using one that's a bit more blunt. So I really want the year to be just really smooth. I don't want to see all of the individual sort of pencil strokes, and in this case it'll be her fur strokes. I don't want to see each individual hair, but sort of the harder I press now in these shadows, I'll end up with a less blunt, a less sharp, more blunt nib then, and I'll be able to get that sort of effect. So I really am just doing those long flowy pencil strokes and sort of mimicking that wavy fur type. I had a lovely comment the other day, so if you don't follow my Instagram or Facebook, I had a piece of work. I drew a white-tailed eagle and I had it up in this local gallery, and it was part of this like exhibition to do with reintroducing the eagles into Wales. So with the exhibition sort of raising awareness for that, and then also it's up to the artists if they want to sort of donate any money from sales to the project and everything. Anyway, my work's up in there, and I had this lovely comment. The Eagle Reintroduction Wales sort of posted my work, and this man commented and he said that it was his favourite, and that he placed, so the way it works is like an auction, and it's like a sealed bid, it's called. I'd never heard of it before, but essentially people, I think, are placing bids on the work that they like, but they can't see like if anyone else has placed a bid on it or what anyone else has bid or anything, so you've just got to sort of go with what, like, the highest you would pay, I think, and then it goes from there. Not really sure, I'll find out soon, I think. But yeah, he said, I've placed a bid, this is my favourite, and he said something like, but I don't think it'll be enough for like what this piece is truly worth, or something like that. And I just thought, oh, how nice. Like, some people are just so lovely. Like, oh, just melted my heart. So I'll find out soon when that exhibition finishes. Hopefully, you know, I'll find out like who has bid and sort of what they've bid and everything. So it's exciting. So the way that they've done it is kind of, it'll be up to me, like whether I choose to sell it for that or not, rather than like the gallery sorting it. It's all very new to me and a bit different. That's exciting. I'm just going to add a little bit of, I think it's, yeah, sky blue from the polychromos, just to this very top section. Like I said, it's very sort of blue toned up the top, and then also add some to these highlights, and then I'm going to leave it there for this part of the video. We've done most of it, but then in the next part I'll finish it off, and then hopefully we should finish the whole dog then in the next video, which is crazy. I can't believe I'll have managed to do this in like 6 or 7 hours. I wasn't sure how long it was going to take me, to be honest, but I'm glad it won't be super duper long for you. But yeah, I'm really happy with this so far. It's definitely become one of my favourite drawings. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it's been helpful. So it's been a bit of a bitty video, like we sort of finished this section and then started the next section yeah, I hope it's been helpful anyway. Like I say, you can watch the first 4 parts already, and then I'll hopefully have part 6 up for you next week or the week after. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, bye.